Okay, let's play some damn chess. What? Street whore from China? Street whore. Choose one of those fucking pieces, bro, you slut.
People wanna think about the future, don't wanna linger on the past, just wanna reach the real side. Together there's an objection, leave the things that separate, there are just that we must have known. Let's get to know you well, let's get to know you well, let's get to know you well, so
This week's work. Not even going to shut down stuff. China!
let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. We can be one together. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. So we can be one together. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. So we can be one together. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. Let's get to know you well. So we can be one together. Let's get to know you well.
God damn it. God fucking damn it. Where's Pit. Now fuck up and take that. Stupid! Oh! You sucker! You fell for that like a second ton of picture of shit. He's one way to ton of shit. Stupid fucker. yourself that, you dumbass. Shit. Sucker. That whore, that whore, that whore, that whore. Bitch, bitch. Suck my slut. 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 You suck my dick. I'm fucking you up.
Nat in Houston. Welcome to the show. Sorry that I'm going to try and push this to be streamlined, at least for your case. It says here that you
I'm fucking you
like to
up.
prove that there's a God using the King James Version, and that you know our
Now fucking move this.
Yes, sir. That's actually not possible. I'm going to let you get to it. It's just that.
Okay.
You heard some of the other callers say that you can't prove that God exists.
Suck my
guessing that you
slut.
disagree with them and that you think you can.
Oh, no. First, I want to say that it's a pleasure to call in and talk to you, man. I think you're a very brilliant guy. And I also believe that the callers that I've been watching your show, they're absolutely insane. So I see why, you have the standpoint you have. But first, I'll begin.
Before you get to King James thing, I just want to answer that one question. I just want to clarify where we're at.
Okay, what?
Those other callers think that you cannot prove that God exists. I'm assuming you
can.
Okay, you can. That's all I wanted to know. Cool. Prove it.
Well, I want to do two things. I want to shoot down two talking points that I heard, and I want to prove the existence of a God. Which one would you like me to
Suck
come
my
with?
Depends on the talking points.
The talking point is you saying that God condones slavery, and also about homosexuality and it not being it being a good thing for the world.
So I can address both those things really quickly in one sentence each. I don't believe that a God exists, so I don't believe that God condones anything. The Bible gives instructions for the correct way to own slaves. And two, it's not so much that homosexuality is, as you said, good for the world. What I think is good for the world is equality, and not rejecting or treating other human beings differently based on things that are irrelevant generally to how you should treat people. But
Come on, you goddamn motherfucker.
Perfect.
Okay, well, since you agree with the clause slavery, we'll leave that. But I'll get straight to proving God is real. I'll get straight to that.
Rather than dipping into some gay bashing.
No, I wasn't saying about the gay bash. I was just about to say, I deal with facts. I don't deal with opinions, and I don't gay bash.
Well,
good for you, sir.
Go ahead.
So let me go ahead on and dip into the homosexual. And it's straight to the point. I heard one guy, he talked to me, he tried to talk about HIV and all this. I was like, well, heterosexuals get HIV too, so that wasn't a good argument. Here's my argument. Take all gays and put them on an island and come back in 100 years and let's see what happens to them.
Okay. You want to know what the flaw is in your argument?
What's the flaw? Tell me, please.
You're presuming that the continuation of a particular subset of the human race is a goal.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, I agree with that. Hey, guess what? We agree. My point is that they will die out because you have to. Have sex between them.
Stop. Here's the super flaw in your argument. You ready for the super flaw?
Okay, I'm ready.
You could take all the heterosexual men and put them on an island and the human race ends too. It's not no.
That's not my argument. I'm saying if you put them on an island with the people that they having sex with.
Then that is a completely dishonest argument because that is not. So the thing is, if you isolate a section of the population and that section of the population are sterile, doesn't matter what their gender is. Everything about your argument is flawed. The truth is, it's irrelevant.
I'm not gonna lip wrestle. This is my main point.
Okay.
My main point is you need a man and woman to reproduce, and without reproducing, there is no life.
Actually, you don't need a man or a woman to reproduce. There is such a thing as parthenogenesis. There is such a thing as parthenogenesis, although it hasn't been confirmed within human beings. But we have in vitro fertilization, test tube babies, other things. All you need is the genetic material or the ability to construct the genetic material.
Okay, so you need science, and you need the lab and all of that. Okay.
Yeah. And you know what?
That's one of those pieces of goodbye, slut. From China!
No, great. I'm glad. We're not going to dance around with that. Let me get me to my main point. Okay. The proof of a God is that no one can break God's laws of reality. And I'll explain what that is. What's God's laws of reality?
I don't know.
If you want.
Okay.
Bitch, suck my
I'm
dick,
going to tell
bitch.
you. I'll give you a solid one. Everything that is born must die. Now, who has broken that?
Hang on. First of all, how do you know that this is a law, and how do you know that it's God's law?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I'm 2 steps ahead of you.
Good.
Yeah, I know it's God's law because the King James Version Bible is the only book that says that. There's no other book that says, and actually science.
There's no other book that describes what Lord Voldemort wants.
No, there's no other book. You ask me why I know that it's God. Come on, you ask me why I know it's God. I know the proof that it's God.
No, I'm not, sir. You do not get to blame me for your irrationality. The fact that a book says something does not mean that it's true.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. That's really.
If
Yes.
I can,
So if I go to college, if I go to Yale and I go to college,
real
and
quick.
they give me a book to read to pass and get a passing grade or pass the SAT, I'm not going to believe it. I'm just going to say what you
God
said.
Go on.
damn it.
I said
Okay.
that the fact that a book says something does not mean that it's true. And your response was to talk about whether or not you can get a passing grade for telling what's in the book. The truth of a proposition is not in any way contingent on whether or not it appears in a book.
I just shit in my pants.
Okay.
Do you not think I could write a book that says there is no God? If I write a book that says there is no God, you would be saying that's not true, right?
Yeah. But
So then you agree with me. That something isn't true just because it's in a book.
Yeah.
So now tell me the actual reason that you know this is God's law without pointing to the book.
Well, the reason why I know, because no man has done it.
Okay? If you... No, stop.
Okay.
Go study syllogisms and take what you just said and put it in a syllogism. Make a logical argument, because now you're saying you know it's God's law because no man has broken it.
Yeah.
That is not how you know something. Oh my God.
hold on, Nate. Matt is trying to make one point. I've just put you on hold because I think you guys are talking back and forth over each other. He's trying to point out that the way syllogism is structured, when you break down the logic of your argument, is not a valid argument. So, Nate, you're back, but Matt is going to let you finish it.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm done with you. And here's why. Here's why. When I point out that it's not true just because it's in a book, and you set the book aside, now you create an argument that says this is God's law because no man has broken it. Okay, the fact that no man has been able to do something does not mean that the thing that they are unable to do is a law that is guaranteed by a God. You have to actually demonstrate that there is such a law, and that there is a God, and that this God is the one that is serving to guarantee that the law can't be broken. What you're essentially saying is, it's impossible for man to do X. And because man cannot do X, that means that there's a God, and that God is guaranteeing that man can't do X. Well, it's impossible for me to draw a square circle, but that doesn't require that there be a God who is preventing me from drawing a square circle.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So now I'm up with a new
Can I get
proof.
my rebuttal?
Of course.
Get my rebuttal?
Your rebuttal was to say that makes sense. Now you need to come up with a new argument.
No, it is my argument. And I'll just leave it like this. Whenever one of you guys can figure out how to do anything outside of what my God has said that man can't do,
Your God has said nothing.
Y'all and follow y'all. And it's simple as that, man.
Okay.
Hang up on me.
Man, I'm
It's as simple as this. We're not asking you to follow us. We're not asking you to necessarily agree with us. But what you've just done, shut the fuck up.
You're on hold now.
What you've just done is shifted the burden of proof. You're essentially saying, okay, Matt, you keep showing how all of my arguments for the existence of God are irrational and flawed, but I'm going to keep right on until you can do something.
Fuck up.
Fuck up. What you just done, shut the fuck up.
You're on hold now.
What you've just done is shifted the burden of proof. You're essentially saying, okay, Matt, you keep showing how all of my arguments for the existence of God are irrational and flawed, but I'm going to keep right on believing until you can do something that is impossible. Well, congratulations. You've now set yourself up in an irrational position that you will be able to defend forever.
Matt, I've taken you back off hold, so
Okay.
you respond.
I'll give you a great example, man. You ready for it?
I bet it's not. I'll bet $20 it's not.
It will be a great example. I'm going to give you a great example. Let's say if I was back in the time of Jesus, right?
Yep.
I would have probably been like you guys, where I don't believe in this. We heard this for thousands of years. But all I'm saying is,
God damn it.
I would have been with Christ and seen him walk on water, heal the sick, make the blind see, make the lame walk. All I'm saying is I would have believed him, and all I'm asking is the same from you guys. So I can see you do anything outside of the realm of the natural, then I would say, hey, there must not. This guy has lived forever. Hey, there must not be a God.
You want to know?
This guy has found alien life. There must not be a God. Or these people are living on another planet. There must not. That's all I'm asking for.
Are you going to take the bet? I got my 20. You're going to donate 20 to the ACA when I explain to you why this is a garbage analogy?
Okay, explain to me.
Sure. Were you there to see Jesus do any of these things?
No, I wasn't.
No.
I said if I was,
Yes. If you were there to see it, perhaps you would have a rational justification for believing it. But you weren't there to see it. And now you're thousands of years removed from those events, as are we. Which means neither of us can have that rational justification that you were pointing to. You might as well have said, if God comes down and fondles me, then I will know that a God exists. But until that happens, it's a garbage example because it hasn't happened.
In summation, point at saying, here's a thing that could happen that would persuade me to believe in a God. Is not a reason to believe in a God if it hasn't
It's pretty
happened.
much the same thing that y'all saying, right? Y'all are saying that I want evidence. Correct?
I have said that many times, yeah.
We'd love to have some evidence. Do you fucking have any?
It's after watching y'all show, and I know that's what y'all been asking for.
Do you actually have any evidence?
Well, guess what? I'm asking the same. know that's what y'all.
Do you fucking have any?
It's after watching y'all show, and I know that's what y'all been asking for.
Do you actually have any evidence?
But guess what? I'm asking the same question. Where's the evidence to make me persuade me to not believe in God? Where's the evidence?
And as I've explained,
And I'm telling you what the evidence. You can't tell me what your evidence is, but I can
You have not given us any evidence. You gave, the last thing you said was, here's a hypothetical where I would have evidence. Give me an actual where you do.
where is your evidence against Muhammad? Where is your fucking evidence against every God that you don't believe in?
Where's my evidence against them? Because the King James Version Bible says the things that man can't overthrow, can't do,
So, Nat, at this point, we're going to tell you. So, hold on. So, Nat, hold on. Real quick, you're on hold.
You know, this doesn't say it in my biology textbook, and yet it's more factually accurate than any book you pointed to in the entire call.
So, unfortunately, Nat, for this episode, we're going to have to move on to the next call, but it doesn't mean that I want this to be the last call, because I think I might be unique among hosts on any of our shows where I'd like a second call from this. But I think for this episode, particularly how we're short on time and have at least one other call that we're going to get to, I'm going to ask, hey, please call back when I'm on the show. If I do that to Eric, he might murder me. So please call back when I'm on the show, or reach out online. On Reddit or on what Facebook's to be, and hopefully we'll be able to continue that. Do you have any questions about how to reach out?
Yeah. No hard feelings, my guy. I enjoy the show.
No hard feelings.
Conversation. No hard feelings.
Like and subscribe.
As soon as you send me the $20, there will be no hard feelings.
Okay, but as soon as you can do any of those things I said, I'll pay you the 20.
Yeah, and as soon as you learn what shifting the burden of proof is, I'll give you 50.
No, I'm not shifting the burden of proof. I'm asking you to give me
So,
oh my God! Oh my God! Cut that clip out. Cut that clip out because it says, I'm not shifting the burden of proof. I'm asking you to give me evidence that there is no God. Best clip ever. Call the Atheist Experience. Say the exact same sentence again. I want that on my show.
That's all I'm saying.
all right.
What can you guys do?
So hold on. So hold on, Nat. So to continue this, we gave an answer to that, but for right now, hopefully you understand that I'm not running away. I'd like you to call back in, and I'd like you to reach out online. But I have to move on to other calls. So yes, between
move on, bro. Y'all have a nice one, man. Hopefully, if y'all can do those things, I'll be able to believe. Okay, bye.
Cool.
No? Okay, well, let's start with Carlos in California. Carlos, you're live with Eric and Jim. What do you want to talk about today?
Hi, Eric and Jim. How you guys doing?
Oh,
Shut
good. How you
my
doing?
dick, bitch.
Try to stay safe, my man.
Doing well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to, reason together this topic. I appreciate it. How would you like me to start? How is the structure of the show?
Sure. So you're the one who brings up what you want to talk about, and we try and meet you where you're at, and then talk to you about it and see if we agree on your reasoning and how you got there. So what specifically did you want to talk about
God
today?
damn it.
Well, I would like to talk about the Bible. I don't know if you guys have a Bible available in the show, so we can open it up for debate.
So question. Why should we?
Why the Bible?
Well, why should we open the
God
Bible?
damn it.
The only thing I ask is, I'm not cursing at you guys. Don't curse back at me. When I called, the guy told me to be reasonable and kind. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not cursing at you.
Did I
No one's
curse?
cursed at you. No one's cursed at you yet, sir.
Okay, perfect. Well, if you allow me, if you look at the Bible on Genesis 5,
No.
there is
Nope.
there is a meaning behind the name in the genealogy of Adam.
Carlos,
And I would like you guys to, yes, sir.
Hey, bud. So So I'll do my best not to cuss out of personal respect, but it is my show, so we'll do it. You know, it is our show, so we'll do it if we see fit. But why open the Bible? Why should we do that?
Ho!
Is there something?
My understanding is that
This is my fucking
my understanding is that you guys believe that there's no God. I believe that there is no God,
fuck
and
up.
I would like you to open the Bible and I will tell you that there is a God.
So
No, that's not my position at all.
So how would you like me to prove that there is a God? If you don't, you put the Bible, if you put the Bible on trial, shouldn't you, after a trial, have the Bible open for debate?
no.
Well, first you have to prove that the Bible is relevant to the topic. And when I have read the Bible, what I have found is that neither creation story in the Bible is scientifically accurate. Noah's flood is not scientifically accurate. There is absolutely zero evidence for it. There is the Israeli archaeologists and Egyptian archaeologists agree that Israelites were never in Egypt and anywhere near the numbers, if at all, during any of the time periods that they were supposed to be in Egypt. I mean, it seems to fail on a number of very, very important topics based on everything we know about the world today. So why should we take the Bible seriously at all, given the huge amounts of flaws in those stories that are supposed to prove that Jesus Christ existed, which is the whole purpose of the Bible, not to be how to be a Christian. So why should we take the Bible seriously?
So that's the thing. The Bible was written in a way that the intellect doesn't quite comprehend. And you know what? I was also one of them.
That is a pretty big claim, that the intellect does not comprehend it. Can you explain that?
It's not my claim. It's not my claim. It's Christ's claim. Give me one verse. And if I show you in one verse that there's things that you guys have not seen, then I will, you guys win. But just give me one verse. That's all I ask.
Sure. So what I'm going to say in response to that is, you can read anything into any book of literature. I can pull out a book of fiction that we both agree is fiction and find something useful to it. I don't see that as a useful test.
If you give me one verse, I will show you that there is something you have not seen.
Did you hear what I just said?
Not the whole argument thing I'm crazy, right? And you're right.
No.
But it's not right.
Did you hear what I just said, Carlos? Did you hear what I just said?
So,
Now, buck up and move right here.
You want me to prove there is a God, but you don't allow me to open the Bible to prove you that there is no God. You want me to show you that there is a God based on creation.
No, Carlos, I just gave you a response. Answer it.
What is your question?
Okay, listen this time. I said I can pull out any book of fiction that you and I both agree is fiction and find something useful in it. And so if you're going to try and find meaning out of a passage of the Bible,
Now, buck up and
but you can do that with literally any book, I don't see any use to your test.
Are you finished?
Yes. Do you have a response?
Okay. Yes, I do. You started your question. You're saying if we both agree it's fiction. I don't agree it's fiction. So we have a disagreement. And I'm like, that's what you just said. If we both agree it's fiction. I don't agree it's fiction.
Carlos, you're talking about books of fiction. Harry Potter. Do you think Harry Potter is true?
No.
Okay. Can we both agree that it's fiction?
Yes.
Okay, do you think that I can pull out a verse from Harry Potter and try and make it sound useful, or I can find use in passages out of that book?
No.
Now,
No.
buck up and move that
You think
finger.
the Bible is the only one that does that?
Yes.
I just shit.
So
my
Harry
pants.
Potter, when he, at the very end, when he sacrifices himself for his friends, and that's not useful as an example of noble sacrifice.
You want me to talk about Harry Potter, but you guys want to open the Bible and give you a chance to open one verse?
You know what, Eric? I'm willing to give him. Let's see where he goes.
Not yet. No, not yet.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, not yet, Carlos. So here's the thing, dude. I see them as on the same footing,
I'm fucking you up.
right?
Okay.
What I'm asking you is to justify the difference between Harry Potter and the
Now,
Bible.
fuck
And so far, your
up.
answer has been because the Bible is the only book that you can find use out of any passage from. Jim's response to you was, here's something that happened in Harry Potter that has moral ethical value, or a demonstration of something that you can find. Your response was, you're not letting me read the Bible. Do you understand how that is completely sidestepping and not responding to what he said?
I will respond to your question, sir. The Bible is written in a way that it unfolds itself. So the Old Testament unfolds in the New Testament. The New Testament unfolds in the times that we're living in. That's why the Bible, you can check it with like facts, with events that happen, with events that are relevant to our lives, and you can check it with the Bible how we could develop. And that's why
Carlos,
like any other books. Yes, sir.
I've done that. I'm sure Eric has done that. But when I did that, when I saw the passage that said, "Oh, hey, if somebody steals a cow from you, then he has to repay it with 5 cows," and I was like, "Okay, that makes sense." But then the Bible says something very, very heinous. It says if you can't afford the 5 cows, sell him into slavery. No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to debate what version of slavery, what it is, because both chattel slavery and indentured servitude are both evil. There's reasons why both those things have been outlawed as unethical. So no, there are. I could pick any book and find good things and bad things in them, but I can ignore the bad things. Yes, twice.
And then let me ask you this. Okay? And let me ask you this. How many kingdoms are the Bible describes?
His
home! No, and I don't care.
Well, there's 2 kingdoms, right? It's the kingdom of this world and the kingdom of above.
You're so full of shit. No.
Again,
you're so full of shit.
Right? It's the kingdom of this world and the kingdom of above.
You're so full of shit. No.
Again, keep coming back to the Bible, but you haven't proven that the Bible is worth reading.
Because you don't want to open it. You're not open to it.
Okay.
I heard you one verse. Give me one verse.
You haven't given a justification to why we should care. I don't want to waste your time. As much as you don't want to waste ours. Right? So if you're wasting your time, then there's no point. If the justification we've given isn't good enough, then there's no reason to.
Okay.
By the way, there are many kingdoms in the Bible. The whole Old Testament is a justification of a tribe trying to justify the murder and enslavement and genocide that they committed to get their Holy Land. There are lots of kingdoms in the Bible. I mean, even Jesus said, "Give unto Caesar that which is Caesar." You think they're not referencing a kingdom? No, you're just talking about one very specific thing, dude, and that's okay. But don't talk down to us as if we don't understand. Right? King Nebuchadnezzar.
I don't know you follow language to you. You're the one doing that to me. You
guys
tell me you guys speak slavery, you guys speak Harry Potter, and I listen to what you guys say. But if you guys want to put God on trial, then you guys should be open to whoever comes and say, okay, you want to use Harry Potter and you want to use slavery scripture, then also give me the chance to show you a scripture that will open your eyes. And if I'm wrong, your audience will think that I'm wrong and you guys win. But if I'm right, then we can maybe both come to an understanding. That's what I'm saying.
Alright, so go for it, we're going to hear it, and we'll show you what we mean. I didn't want to waste your time, but obviously you're not there, so go for it.
Okay, in Genesis 5, there's a genealogy, okay? And back in the day, in Judea and in Israel, back in the day, each name had a meaning. So each of those names has a secret meaning. And for instance, I will tell you, Adam means man, Seth means appointed, Enoch means moral, Canaan means sorrow, Mahalalel means the blessed God, Jared means shall come down, Enoch means teachings, Methuselah means his death shall bring, Lamech means the despairing, Noah means comfort. If we put that together, it reads, man has appointed mortal sorrow, the blessed God shall come down teaching, his death shall bring the despairing comfort. Now, in the Torah, if you read the Torah, you go deeper, if you really want to know who God is, then he describes who this God is. He says, this one will provide us relief from our work and from the toil of our hands, and of the very soul which the Lord placed under our curse. So right there in the Torah, the own Jew people they reject the Messiah. But in Genesis, in the verse 5, right there, it gives you the whole plan of salvation. Men, when they chose to hear the lies of Satan, appointed death to themselves. But they cannot come as a flesh.
I've heard enough. I'd like to respond. I've heard enough. I'd like to respond.
Go for it, John.
So first of all, I can do the exact same hermeneutic. I think I'm using the right word. This exact same textual analysis you just did on a number of books who use old names that don't have any more value to them than the Bible does. So I don't care that you just did that textual analysis because it doesn't mean anything, because it's just a book. You haven't demonstrated that the book is special or that the book should be treated with any more reverence than any other book that I pick up.
I just
And
shit
that's
in
the
my pants
problem.
again.
So the rest of it I don't care about because you haven't demonstrated the value of the Bible being anything more than a badly written anthology about a really bad antagonist. That's all you've done.
Okay, I understand. Now let me ask you, does Harry Potter foretell the future, how it will unfold in real life?
Neither does the Bible.
Or the Simpsons does? Which of us?
The Bible doesn't either.
I'd like to jump in here real quick.
Oh yes, the Bible does. You know, look, guys. I didn't want to argue with.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
Hi.
So you were using exegesis and hermeneutics, is that correct?
I was using what, sir?
Exegesis and hermeneutics.
I don't know what that means.
Okay. So hermeneutics is the study of the original texts of a thing. And as you study more about it, you learn and then you plug back in so you can learn more, right? Let me give you an example. I need to come up with one that's different, but I keep going to Spider-Man, right? Do you know Spider-Man, the comic book?
Yeah, I haven't seen Spider-Man in a long time, but go ahead with your knowledge.
That's okay, no worries. He lives in New York, right? I can pull out comics from the 70s.
Stupid!
And I can apply hermeneutics. And as I'm doing that, even though Spider-Man doesn't exist, what I can do is I can see how they're talking to each other, what's going on in the background, what's on posters, what kind of music, what's the style, and this and that. And then as I'm learning, oh, hey, this word means this, I can go back in and learn more, right? I'm plugging back in my knowledge as I'm learning about it. So even though I'm studying the fiction, I can walk away with it having an understanding of what the actual culture in the United States was at that time. That's hermeneutics.
And what did you learn? What did you learn useful from Spider-Man in your life?
Now fuck up and move that now right here.
Responsibility.
Hold on. What does that matter?
Because you just said you just put the Bible next to Spider-Man. The Bible gives you life. Spider-Man is a fiction show. You just said it's a fiction show. So the my question is, what did you get from Spider-Man?
So
I want you to follow me because we're getting off topic here, and I want you to follow me very closely. No, you're changing the subject here, and I'm trying to make a point. The point is, you can use hermeneutics to understand a culture. You cannot use hermeneutics to justify saying that Spider-Man existed in the real world. So it is a tool that has use, but not the use you think.
I don't think most of you
I just explained it. I just gave you a full description.
it again.
Sure. What's another comic that takes place in the real world? Somebody help me.
Actually, you'd probably just pick like Harry Dresden.
Dresden
Files, thank you.
Somebody said The Simpsons. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Simpsons, right? Small town USA. I can look at episodes of The Simpsons from the 90s and learn about the culture in the United States from things that are referenced in The Simpsons. Right? I can look at that, well, that's a video format, but I can look at writings from specific times and be able to pull out actual information that is useful and helpful. from the Bible, you can use hermeneutics to understand the culture of the time, the way people talked, what they valued, how their moral and ethical system is different from the one that we have, how they treated each other, and the way that they set those things up. Those genealogies were important to them at the time, and that's why they listed it out. Right?
But that's the difference, my friend. That's the difference. You think that the Bible was written for a certain people. The Bible was written for whole humanity. I mean,
how do you know that?
So, what do you guys believe you guys came from? What's your answer?
Do I have to have an answer to tell you that you're wrong?
You think?
Do I have to have an answer to tell you that you're wrong?
No, I'm not wrong. So I'm asking you, where do you come from?
I asked you a question. Try listening a little harder. Do I have to have an answer to tell you that you're wrong?
You're wrong about what?
So, your response was, give me a better response, right? Your response was, give me your explanation. I don't have to. Have you heard the gumball analogy?
So you guys believe that you just
Have you heard the gumball analogy? Have you heard the gumball analogy?
Don't yell at me, sir. I'm talking to you respectfully. What can you talk to me?
So I respect you as a person.
Is that how you treat your callers who disagree with you? You guys disagree with me. I treat you with very much respect. Why do you guys raise your voice on me? Yes?
If you don't like it, yeah. Otherwise, respond. Do you know, have you heard the gumball?
The gumball? No, I haven't heard the gumball.
Jim, do you want to give him the gumball analogy or something?
No, go ahead.
The point. Sure.
What is the gumball analogy?
So let's say you and Jim are sitting in a room together, and I walk in with a jar of gumballs. You know that Jim has never seen them, and you know that you've never seen them, right? So I lay that jar of gumballs, set it on the table, and I say, both of you guys, how many gumballs are in the jar? Is the number even or odd? Right. Well, and Jim pops in and he goes, "It's even. I know that for a fact." Well, Carlos, you know that he's never seen that jar of gumballs. So, do you agree with him?
So that's even?
Do you agree with him that it is even?
You're not answering my question. My question is, why you guys make a show and you get, you make a living. I don't know if you guys make a living out of this. So then my question to you guys, what is your foundation? Where did you guys come from? Can you guys explain it to me? If we look at the sky, we look at the stars, there's light nowhere, right?
You're waiting.
There's only light in this planet. Why is that? Can you answer?
Be on hold if you don't stop. We're going to try this one more time. Did you hear what I said about the gumball analogy? I asked you a question and you responded with something that is not related.
If you have a gamble and somebody takes a number and it's even, do I agree if it's even? That's the question?
Yes. I set down a jar of gumball. No, my question is, what is your response to Jim? Jim looks at the jar and says it's an even number in there. Do you agree with him that it's an even number in there?
And we're like, let's find out. Let's look at how many gambles there are. Let's put it on the table. Let's read them together. That's what I would say.
Hey, I think that's a wonderful response. I'd love for you to respond to the question, too. Do you agree with Jim that it is an even number? Yes or no?
I agree that he believes it's an even number, but I cannot tell actually if it's an even number.
Yeah. Agreed. So let's say you're unable to open the jar. You have no idea. Do you agree with Jim that it's even or odd? Or that it's even?
I agree that he believes, but I cannot
I don't care what he believes. I'm asking about you. Do you agree with Jim?
No, because I have not verified.
Okay, so you're saying that it's odd.
I'm not saying it's odd. I say I have not verified it.
Oh, so hold on a second. You don't agree with Jim, right? And you also don't have to have your own belief, right?
I agree that it's even. But for me to verify it even, I need to put it on the table and count it. How many users there are or not. And then we can count together.
I agree.
Carlos,
I'll tell you, open it and there's the date.
No, Carlos, we agree that the best way to do it is to actually have evidence, and that just because I say that it is even and you disagree, you don't have to prove that it's odd to disagree with my conclusion that it's even. We agree with those things. The same thing happens when you're making your claim with God. The difference is on anything you're going to ask us, where we came from, ultimate meaning, and all that, we're going to say where we came from. Ultimately, the Big Bang is the best explanation. Anything past that, we don't know. And you're going to go,
No,
God
fuck
did
it.
it.
Being that cold
Well, no, that's not an acceptable answer. Just because we don't have an answer doesn't mean you get to claim God. Just because we assign value to our lives doesn't mean God assigned value to our lives. That's where we're coming from. The skeptical position is to say, and the most honest answer you can give in so many cases is I don't know. And honestly, that's the hardest thing about being an atheist is to say those 3 words. Well, 4 words technically. I do not know. We don't get to run to God.
You believe that intelligence doesn't come from a source, right? Like you look at your body, you're perfectly made, right? You have a brain,
No, I'm not.
arms, and legs.
Dude, I'm wearing glasses and so is Eric. We're not perfectly made. I have attention deficit disorder. My brain is not perfectly made. Well, it is for me, but everyone else thinks so. But we are not perfectly made. In any shape, way, shape, or form.
There are animals that have
I just
brains.
for something.
There are animals that
Let me
have
ask you this. Let me ask you. If you believe that there's none God and we came from stardust, right? So then, what made your life?
You should ask us what we believe. No, Carlos, stop right there. You're strawmanning us. You have
What the goddamn fuck is going on?
believe on those topics.
God fucking damn it. Jesus fucking Christ. I do.
You want to take Jonathan in Arizona?
Sure.
Faggot.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
How are you doing today?
Good. Hi, B. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Hello.
What you calling in about?
Actually, I called to talk to V and Eric a couple weeks ago under the same pretense of where V and I were having an email exchange.
Hello, Jonathan.
Hi. Incidentally, I had sent Matt an email the other night. He responded yesterday. And I was like, hey, what a great opportunity to not have to do the email thing in his box.
Well, what can
What can I help you with?
Also, do you want to kind of summarize what the email was about first, so that we've got everyone on the same page?
Context. Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I had quoted Matt saying that you can't use the Bible to prove the Bible, and because you need to have independent attestation.
It's Angelina.
Angelina. I sent the email specifically asking that it's a compilation of independent attestations that just have to be like in one book, and how it makes sense to say you need independent attestation of now what is a collective of independent attestations. So I was just like trying to understand the reason behind that.
Yeah, I remember this. And I also remember being incredibly pleased with my response and thinking that this would require no further discussion.
What was your response?
So the Bible is, the New Testament is a collection of different accounts. The problem is that first of all, we don't know who the authors are for a lot of it. We don't have any way to investigate it. It was put together by biased sources. unbiased sources.
And instead of being a collection of independent affirmations of something, it is far closer to a collection of ghost stories told by different people. And so you can put together the plural of anecdote is not data. And so you can put together as many claims about this particular ghost story as you'd like, and yet that isn't enough on its own to confirm anything. You would need independent verification of the facts, not just more people telling a story, especially if you have no way to investigate.
And especially if it's been proven that they're building off of each other.
Right.
Well, I mean, you kind of expect that from independent sources that are talking about the same story. You know what I mean? The example I gave as comparison was, it sounds like they did the exact same thing in school reading a history book. No. History book is a compilation. I'm sorry, go ahead, Matt.
So do you believe
that people are being abducted by aliens?
I really don't.
I don't either. And yet we have countless stories from people. And these stories are incredibly similar, including the descriptions of what the ships look like, including the descriptions of what the aliens are like. So there's a collection of independent attestations, and yet it is insufficient because the nature of the claim is such that we would require more. 100 people tell me that there's a new pet at the local pet store that's unlike anything I've ever seen. I'm going to go down and look for it. If they tell me they all got new dogs, I'm just going to take them at their word. But people tell me that they were abducted by aliens, or they've seen ghosts, or that there's a man who turned water into wine, walked on water as if it were dry land, raised the dead, healed the sick, etc. Those things require investigation and evidence beyond just the claim. And so if you aren't willing to believe that people are being abducted by aliens, when you can actually go meet and talk to those people who made those claims, so you can get their first-hand accounts. How could you possibly believe a document thousands of years old that is a copy of a copy of a translation of a copy of an oral tradition by somebody you don't know and is so far removed from you temporally that you can't even investigate it?
Right, and I'm not actually trying to make an argument for the truth of the claims in the Testament. I'm just looking for consistency on comparing what you're saying to something that's another historical event that has exactly sort of material, but you're not saying that this is independently assessed.
Usually when we talk about historical documents, we are talking about we need verification from non-biased sources. And so when somebody reports on a war that happened, if all of your information is coming from one side of that war, now all of their views are suspect. But if people on both sides of a war are reporting the same facts, where those facts overlap, now you have a good reason to think you are closer to the truth. And so it's not like the New Testament is a collection of biased and unbiased sources. And when you go outside of the New Testament, when you go to somebody like Josephus, who is an actual historian, albeit very early, perhaps not with the best methods, you don't have those independent, unbiased historians confirming the facts of the Bible. Even in the testimonium within Josephus' work, which is probably an interpolation because it probably didn't exist in the originals, but even if it were there, all it really attests to is that there are people who believe this happened. It's not testifying that this thing actually happened. And that would be me like writing a newspaper about flat Earth. And then in 2,000 years, there'll be people who go, wow, there were people who believed the Earth was flat as late as 2019. And that's completely different from the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
And some of that makes sense. Some of it, to be honest, it doesn't seem to make sense because referring to Josephus saying, all he was saying is, as people at the time believed it. He doesn't make specific claims, at least the crucifixion of Jesus under Pilate, Jesus having a mother named James. I mean, those aren't just a bunch of people at the time believed it. Those are specific attestations of certain things in the Testament.
No. These are not claims of fact. These are claims about what people believe. Josephus wasn't even alive when these things
occurred. Right, you can be extremely specific and still be wrong.
Right. Okay. I guess I do have to backtrack. This was like the beginning of the first century, if I'm not mistaken. Beginning of the second century.
Something around
60,
75, I think, is when he was born. I might be wrong in the dates,
but
at best, he was talking to second or third-hand sources, and he's reporting on what they believe to be true. He cannot report these things actually happened.
Right, and I guess in all fairness, in 100 years, nobody will be able to actually say that the Holocaust actually happened.
Well, except that we have documents from Holocaust survivors
and we can go to concentration camps
and people on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can, again, in 100 years, you can say, well, I don't know if those were actually written by the people who survived the Holocaust. I mean, you can be skeptical to the point where,
you could, but we are at a point where the documentation process is much stronger now than it is for something 2,000 years ago.
Right.
And so it becomes increasingly irrational to suggest that multiple reports from people on both sides of an issue can't get us to something close to a good understanding of what likely happened. Now, I don't think you can be absolutely certain about anything, let alone historical claims. But you can be. What you can say is. In the 20th century, we have countless reports of a war. We have video footage, photographs, and we have accounts from people who claim to be there, who survived that, who lost family members there. And so, yes, in 2,000 years, Holocaust denialism might be slightly more plausible than it is now. But what you're kind of overlooking is that as our ability to record and save information and make sure that it doesn't change over time when you have digital recordings of things, and you can never prove absolutely that something hasn't been manipulated or that the masterminds at Google are secretly going in and changing all this. But that is a claim that is itself extraordinary, and you would need to demonstrate the likelihood of that.
Right.
This is very different from hey, we have this book, and it's a collection of writings. Most of those writings, we have no idea who the author is. We know currently from the information we have no originals. No original manuscripts at all, let alone who wrote them. And all of these were collected by believers, and they essentially held councils to vote on what was getting in and what wasn't. We don't tend to vote on what gets put into the history books.
Well, Texas does.
That's the history textbooks that we give to kids. But it's like the Library of Congress is if you write a book and you get an ISBN, it's going in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
I mean, what you're saying makes sense. Like, I understand what you're saying. It's just there's variances in things I either don't necessarily agree with, or I think are being misrepresented. And not purposely, I don't think.
Like what?
Well, like the issue of the New Testament documents not having independent attestation of, say, those who didn't have a bias or didn't affirm it to be true, stuff like that. When from what I've read, there's plenty of that actually.
Wait, where?
I think the Jewish Talmud, first of all, I mean, they read about Jesus and not in a very flattering, light way, but they write about him and that he was a blasphemer, and I mean, that to me is probably the best attestation you can get is someone who hates you and is still saying, at the very least, there are claims written about him that happen to be in the New Testament that aren't true.
That would be a good point if you were arguing against a claim of mythicism. But it's not a good point if you are arguing for divinity. Because the Talmud...
I'm not arguing... I'm not arguing for theism at all.
I just lost my headset.
I'm sorry. Let me know when you're back.
Yeah,
can you?
Yeah, I can hear.
I can hear just fine.
Okay, so I know, because we've had this conversation before as well. That you're not trying to argue for divinity yet. You're trying to establish a baseline of Jesus existed, and then we can go from there. Is that right?
No, that was definitely in the context of the conversation that you and Eric and I had. This was just mainly on consistency of you need independent attestation for a book that is compiled of independent attestation. That's the part where I was getting hazy.
I guess my question for you is that if you're not trying to argue for divinity and you're not arguing on behalf of theism, then why would you care? Why should we care?
Why would I care about what?
Whether or not we can use the Bible to prove the Bible.
Well,
do I have to go shit again?
Yeah,
I gotta
if
go
what I'm
shit
saying is
again.
right, that's a big if, I'm sure. If you're saying you need independent attestation, but the compilation itself is the independent attestation, then there's got to be something else that you're actually meaning, and you're looking for something else to verify the validity of the independent attestation.
But I've described that. What we're looking for is unbiased sources, and preferably sources that are in opposition. And so when you go to like the Talmud, and you look at the passages that some people would view as talking about Jesus, there's a lot of problems with them because you've got Yeshua ben Pintera and a view that he was killed in almost the second century CE. That clearly can't be talking about the same Jesus. So. But even if the Talmud included, around this year, give or take a couple, there was a heretic who was killed at the hand of Pontius Pilate, etc. None of that gets to. Can you still hear me if I talk? Because my headset went out. There it is. None of that gets to whether or not these events occurred, the miraculous events, the things that might lead to divinity, and there were plenty of potential messiahs and plenty of people whose name was Yeshua. And to just argue that because there was a mention that this then affirms not only the existence of the particular one that you're talking about, that's a problem. You may be right, you may not. But none of that gets us any closer to whether or not this was not just an itinerant rabbi who was preaching heretical things, but whether or not this was the Son of God who died for our sins. And plus, I don't even think we need to go into potential evidence for that because the notion is absurd in the first place.
So if there were more, like say, archaeology discovers over 100 years, there's a bunch of more, unbiased, opposition, attestation for, Jesus, Yeshua, whatever. I mean, can we just say the same thing? Can you saying like we need it to be unbiased from the opposition that would give it more credibility? But even if we had that, just did exactly the same thing, we wouldn't know that they were talking about that Yeshua.
Well, yeah, we need them to talk about that.
We need to be specific. Here's the big question you need to ask, Jonathan.
Go ahead.
If there is a God, and the story about Jesus is true, where God essentially takes human form and comes down and sacrifices himself to serve as a loophole for rules that he created, and it is important for us now 2,000 years later to have an evidence-based, warranted belief in this in order to accept it. Then how could we ever be having discussions and debates with confusion about which Jesus we're talking about, or are we talking about Jesus, and we can't verify miracles? If there is a God, that God has utterly failed at understanding good standards of evidence. Because there should be no debate. This has got to be, if this is all true, this has got to be the single most important thing in the entire history of the world. And it is not sufficiently attested to and backed up with evidence. And that has to be God's fault. What kind of idiot does this?
Yeah, and I see what you're saying, but there's and again, you could be skeptical to the point of
Checks out! Checks out, horrible guy.
Skepticism is rational. Skepticism is not, I don't believe. Skepticism is a process by which we want our internal model of reality to match reality. And so we are not going to become convinced of things until the evidence warrants it.
I chased that
Skepticism
whore
is
down!
not debunking.
Not
It is not saying, no. It is impossible. It is impossible to be too skeptical.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Because skepticism is about testing to be as correct as possible. Can you be too correct?
No, I guess you can't be too correct.
There you go.
You can't have like too much evidence. But it's like I could say I don't believe that my mother and my father are actually my mother and father. Even though that's to me that's too skeptical. Like I have no reason not to believe it.
That's not
skeptical. You can deny whatever you want. You can be a Holocaust denier, but you can't say that you're doing it because you're skeptical.
Right, exactly.
You don't
understand skepticism if you think that you can be too skeptical.
And that's why I said, can you be too correct? Because that's what skepticism is. It is, let's use the best methods to avoid being wrong. Now, can you be wrong and still be skeptical? Absolutely. Because for some things, there may not ever be enough evidence to warrant it. I have no idea what happened before the Big Bang, or whether that sentence even makes sense.
Right, yeah.
But my skepticism is I'm going to believe it when the evidence warrants it, and not a moment before. Because if I believe it before the evidence warrants it, now I'm being unskeptical, I am being gullible, I am being irrational. And if I deny that something exists when there is sufficient evidence for it, that's also not skepticism.
Right, exactly.
So being not like a hard solipsist is not like skeptical, like other people actually existing?
No, being a hard solipsist is asserting a position that you can't demonstrate, and that would not be consistent with skepticism. Being a soft solipsist is consistent with skepticism, because that's an acknowledgement that I cannot demonstrate that I'm not the only mind in the world.
Okay.
Demonstrate, and that would not be consistent with skepticism. Asserting a position that you can't demonstrate, and that would not be consistent with skepticism. Solipsist is asserting a position that you can't demonstrate, and that would not be consistent with skepticism. Being a soft solipsist is consistent with skepticism, because that's an acknowledgement that I cannot demonstrate that I'm not the only mind in the world.
Okay. I didn't know the distinction.
Yeah.
Hard solipsism is nobody exists but me.
Which then is a claim that you cannot prove or disprove, and therefore it's illogical to hold it.
Yeah, it's essentially about falsifiability. I can't falsify the proposition there is no God. I can't falsify the proposition that's falsifiable by demonstrating that God exists. But I cannot demonstrate that it's not the case, or that it is the case that I am in fact the only mind. There's no way to show that that's false.
So, I mean, something that's extremely well tested scientifically, or with the best methods that we have determining what's probably true. Pick something like how stars form. Something that we understand physics and astronomy stuff. For someone to actually be aware of all of this evidence and information, I'm still not convinced that he was not being skeptical when all of the evidence is true.
No, they're not being too skeptical. They're being irrational.
Skepticism doesn't have anything to do with it. It's just straight to irrationality.
Skepticism would say, when there's sufficient evidence, I will accept it. And you are describing a scenario where there is sufficient evidence, but someone won't accept it. That's not skepticism, that's cynicism.
Isn't that subjective though to the individual?
It's going to be up to you to determine what is going to convince you or not. But you can't claim that your standards of being convinced are objectively correct. That's something you need to demonstrate. For example, you could say, well, you could be the doubting Thomas thing. I'm not going to believe Jesus until he's standing in front of me and I see the nail holes in my head, which, by the way, is not sufficient evidence to warrant belief in that. But you could do something like that. Or you could say, I don't believe you have $100 in your wallet, and I open my wallet and show it to you. And you can say, I don't believe it still. Well, now you're not engaged in skepticism. You're engaged in denial and cynicism. And you can sit there all day and be convinced that you're rational. But you're clearly not. This would be like saying, I don't believe this pen works, and then I write your name and say, read that to me, and you read it, and then you say, I still don't believe that pen works. That is what you're trying to describe as too skeptical, but that's not skepticism. Because skepticism,
you're describing proof rather than evidence.
No.
Wrong. But proof is conclusive.
No. So first of all, proof is a mathematical term. What we're talking about in science is demonstrating something with sufficient evidence. But also, every position we hold should be tentative, and our confidence in that position should be proportional to the evidence. Mathematics has proof. Proof in a colloquial sense is just give me a demonstration, and you're saying, oh, that's sufficient.
Right, I think the issue here is that we're working off of different terms, and Matt, you're kind of going off of the more technical terms of what skepticism is, what a proof is, and Jonathan, it sounds like you're using them how like normal everyday people would use the term proof or skepticism, but they're not the same thing, they're different concepts. Just like a theory in science is different than when I say, I have a theory that Matt's gonna oversleep today. You know?
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that this is again
how would you define theory, Jonathan?
So I have when I think the word theory, I think there's like three theories. There's unproven theories, disproven theories, and proven theories. So I kind of when it comes to a theory, like a theory is something like theory of gravity, where the apple hits you in the head, and all of a sudden.
The thing is, once it becomes disproved, it's no longer a theory.
A theory in science is the highest thing that an idea, a hypothesis, can achieve.
Yeah, best described like the inventor or whatever it is being investigated as the best model for it.
Yeah, a theory or model is essentially. There's an observation, and granted, there isn't a scientific method, there are a bunch of scientific methods. But if you begin with an observation, you create a hypothesis, then you investigate and try to come up with evidence that affirms that hypothesis, and then you attempt to disprove that hypothesis. And then there's the whole thing surrounding peer review and independent investigation, because the truth has nothing to fear from inquiry. And so if it's true that Jesus is the Son of God, then we would expect, A, there would be evidence for it, unless there's some reason for God to hide that evidence, in which case he can't expect people to accept it if he's hiding the evidence. God is playing the world hide-and-seek champion every year.
God damn it.
But if God is not providing enough evidence, then the fault now rests with God. If there's just not enough evidence, then all you can say is, I am not convinced, and no reasonable person could be convinced.
Move, you goddamn motherfucker.
And you're talking general on the general claim, not like theism altogether. I mean, not just theism, right?
Any claim. The claim doesn't matter. For different claims, there's different evidential standards. Like if somebody tells me, hey, I mentioned this earlier many times in the past, hey, I just got a new puppy. Cool. I'm going to take you at your word. Because I know that puppies exist, and people have them as pets, and I know things about you and everything else. And I'm saying that, knowing that I could in fact be wrong. But the consequences of me being wrong doesn't shake my worldview from an epistemological standpoint. It just means you are no longer trustworthy. Now, if you say, I just was abducted by aliens last night, now all of a sudden the nature of the claim has changed, and the type of evidence that we would expect for that should change as well. And so when you say Jesus is divine and performed miracles and rose from the dead and wants you to stop having gay sex and do all the things that he wants in order for you to live in paradise forever, that's a collection of claims that's incredibly extraordinary and would need more evidence than stories of translations of stories by anonymous authors thousands of years ago.
Right. If Yeshua, this rabbi, was just one more of the, there were like, what, 36, something like that, different sects of Judaism that had broken off into cults of different apocalyptic natures around that same time period. If it was just one of those various cults, and you said, hey, this existed at this point in time, I'd be like, okay, sure, fine, I'll go with that, because it doesn't impact me or my worldview. But once you make the claim that it's supposed to impact me and my worldview, then I need more evidence that's going for other claims. Does that make sense?
Fucking black ass for stolen, even though you...
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I think that way in my daily life as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I've been watching atheist experience for 10 years. At least 10 years. My best friend is an atheist. I read books from atheist authors. I read books from Christian apologists, stuff like that. Why it is going to be maybe difficult for you to attempt to answer, but how come I feel like I am like being rational and coming to the conclusion that I believe the claims that are about written about Jesus in the New Testament. I feel like I'm a rational person. I feel like I'm a critical thinker. I understand logic and reason.
We demonstrated Right. We demonstrated this earlier. Would you already said that you don't believe people are being abducted by aliens.
Right.
That means that you have one standard of evidence for the alien claim and a lesser standard of evidence for the Jesus claim. And the question you have to ask yourself is, why are you setting the bar so low for the Jesus claim and much higher for the alien abduction claim? It comes down to somewhere there's a hidden bias. Either it's fear of the consequences of being wrong, the consequences of being wrong about God are greater than the consequences of being wrong about alien abduction. Or maybe you have some hidden desires related to family members, as we discussed before, or an afterlife, or some preference for something that you're not willing to acknowledge yourself. But I would think that both of us would agree you have a lower standard of evidence for the Jesus claim than you do for the alien abduction claim.
I don't know if I do or not. Even if I do, I don't know how I'd actually be able to determine that.
It's really easy. There are many claims about people being abducted, and you can go and talk to them firsthand and hear their account. And in many cases, you can go out and investigate things. They are closer to you temporally, in temporal proximity, and that maybe somebody thinks they got abducted by aliens in the last couple of years. You can talk to them, you can investigate, and you can look at this evidence, and yet I would bet that you don't, and you don't believe them. And yet, when it comes to the Jesus thing, you have sources that you cannot identify, cannot name, cannot talk to. You have no way to investigate these things. You are much farther removed from them in time, and the claim is vastly more extraordinary. Because the alien claim doesn't violate necessarily the physical laws of the universe. There's nothing supernatural about the notion that life might have come from somewhere else to here, that there might be advanced technology. So you are accepting a much more extraordinary claim based on worse evidence.
So, to kind of be specific, I have specific reasons why I don't think that alien life is probable. I don't know. I'm not here saying that I know God exists. I wouldn't do that because it's monumentally arrogant, I think. I have to believe it because the arguments that I have spent 10 years reading about and learning about, and the vast amount that I've learned from the show has just led me to the conclusion that in my mind, the way that I use my epistemology or whatever, it has led me to the belief that this is more probably true.
Take the last 3 sentences you said and replace any reference to God or religion with aliens or alien abductions. And why is it?
It's not the same thing because I'm aware of evidence that makes alien life unlikely.
Okay. What is that evidence? Because we know. Science shows that alien life is not only incredibly likely, but probable. Whether or not they come here, whether or not they have technology where they can come here and abduct people is a separate issue. But life outside of Earth is wholly unremarkable. Do you know how big the universe is? It's far more improbable that life only exists on this one little frickin' rock.
Okay, Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Okay, so we are going to have to move on, I think, to some other callers. But I have some homework for you, if you would like to call back.
Fucking Christ.
Make a list. Awesome, me too. Make a list of the reasons you don't accept alien abduction. And then make a list of, and then compare claims about Jesus' existence to that list.
And I want to finish the one when you're done. I want to finish the one thought that kind of got sidetracked. Because when I say take the last three sentences and anywhere that references God or religion substitute alien abduction, you interrupted right away. And that's fine. I interrupt too. It's not a big deal. What I was going to say is, if you literally go back and type out what you said, and change it so that it is three sentences about alien abductions.
Christ.
Ask yourself, how is it if someone who believes there were alien abductions said those three sentences to you, how would you reply? That's where I was going.
Mm-hmm. So do some thinking on that, maybe write out a little bit of a list, and call back next week, and we'll continue the conversation.
Okay, I will definitely give it a shot, and I don't want to promise that I can get back to you next week, but I will definitely call back to you when I have a chance.
Awesome.
And I have a great time talking to you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for calling in. I think another thing to bring up is just that argumentum ad populum is the fallacy of assuming things are true because a large portion of the population agrees with you. I think that subconsciously that is an extremely important thing that people grab onto. If we lived in a society that was built around the acceptance of aliens, it would be a lot more likely that you also accepted that aliens existed. The fact
That is a brilliant point.
Right? So, if you are living in this society, whether or not you think you have individual personal biases, you are biased. Just by default, because of the way our society is set up, and because of the number of people who are theists in society.
Yeah, skepticism is about doing whatever you can to remove as much of your personal bias as possible. You're never going to be a perfect thinker or a perfect skeptic. You're not going to get rid of all your biases, but doing everything you can to figure out what those are. And if you have a different standard of evidence, a lower standard of evidence for something that is obviously more extraordinary, you got to ask why.
Exactly.
And maybe what he was pointing out about the popularity of this, that might be the biggest thing.
Yeah, ask yourself, am I believing this because other people also believe this thing? That kind of was a big part of my deconversion.
Welcome back to Sarah by the Bay and David. Okay. Thought it was going to be a slow news weekend, but Trump and Libertarian speech made it a little less slow. So the Libertarian were having their conference or their convention, and Trump was scheduled to speak at it, trying to convince Libertarians to nominate him as the Libertarian candidate, or at least vote for him. Now, his name was put out there for nomination on the floor for the delegates, but the Libertarian speaker basically said he couldn't be nominated as a Libertarian because he didn't bother to fill out the paperwork. Robert Kennedy Jr. also was nominated, but he only received 2% of the delegates, so he's not going to be a Libertarian candidate. So Trumpers lined up to get into this convention early, and when they got in, they stormed to the front and took all the seats in the front that were for the Libertarian delegates. And there was a bit of a kerfuffle as the Libertarian delegates were trying to get the Trumpers to move out of those seats. And they tried using logic with them. I don't know how successful that was. Basically saying, look, Trump's here to try and convince these delegates to vote for him, and I know you'd like for them to vote for him, so could you get out of the way so that they can sit there? The other thing that was interesting is Robert F. Kennedy and a PAC, maybe that he was associated with. I know it was definitely a PAC associated. We're handing out rubber chickens with squeakers in them to squeak during Trump's speech, and the Secret Service confiscated those. You know, you weren't allowed to bring water, something else, and rubber chickens. Let's see if I can find it here, the actual clip.
Yeah.
Tape recording for that session or something.
Got it. Okay. No lighters, no water bottles, no noisy chickens.
What?
When aging yelled to attendees. Lighters, okay. Water bottles, were you afraid they're going to throw it at them? Noisy chickens, for God's sake, really?
The recording
Now, when I saw that, all I could think of was Linda G. And for years she's been telling us she saw Trump getting booed. And that happened a lot at this convention. He was getting booed, and I think she was commenting about people throwing tomatoes at him or something like that. So no tomatoes were thrown, but he was getting booed, and he was a little bit flustered because he said, "You should support me. You should vote for me." And they were booing him. It's like, well, if you're not going to name me as your candidate, at least vote for me. And he met with more boos. Now it was mixed with cheers and boos because there were a lot of Trumpers there, and the Trumpers were cheering, and the Libertarians were booing. He did not convince the Libertarians. And then he started insulting them, which I think he was trying to use logic, but he said, here, the quote is great. Now, I think you should nominate me, or at least vote for me, and we should win together, because Libertarians want to vote for me. And it's very important, because we have to get rid of the worst president in history. We did that in 2020. Trump added, only do that if you want to win. If you want to lose, don't do that. Keep getting your 3% every 4 years. Gary Johnson, who was the Libertarian candidate, got a little more than 3% of the popular vote in 2016, which is their high water mark. Trump left the stage after 34 minutes, marking one of his shortest campaign speeches to date. So basically, he was met with a hostile crowd. It seems like his agents were trying to get his supporters up front to make a lot of noise. All he would hear were the cheers. But the Libertarian delegates that did get in the front, they turned their back to him. There were a lot of boos from the back. Trump was facing a hostile crowd. He didn't handle it very well. So let's look at the energy around Trump and the Libertarians, as well as where it goes from here, okay? Again, congratulations to Linda G. She's been predicting stuff like this happening. It looks like it's finally here.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay, Trump and the Libertarian thing. Yeah. The Magician.
Thank you.
He's there, with his accordion of hypnotic falsehoods, trying to convince the Libertarians that he's the person they need. Now, mind you, if the Libertarians got 3% of the vote, of the popular vote, that's a nice chunk of change there. That could very well make the difference in swing states if he could convince like 3% all of the Libertarians to vote for him and not for a Libertarian candidate. So here he is trying to manifest those votes and trying to bring them into the fold of Trump as a GOP candidate. And doing it basically by saying, you guys right now are a bunch of losers. And if you want to continue being losers, then don't vote for me.
All right,
but here's the thing. It's an illusion.